the glove of Bressler. 1 run comes in. Here comes Bodenhausen, and that'll do it. A mission accomplished. The first three-peat in big league history belongs to St. Joe.
We came into the summer knowing that we had the potential to do it again, and our first three-peat feels amazing, especially with all the fans here and a crowd of what felt like the whole stadium was packed. It's amazing.
I mean, we don't toot our horn enough about how cool St. Joe is, and so this is just a small glimpse into what St. Joe, the potential of it, what it could be.
And St. Joseph's been known to be a baseball town for a long time. And with the way this team continues to play, perhaps this Mustangs dynasty is just beginning.
I think we're going to go for 4, and so 8-time champion sounds nice until you hear 9.
Welcome into the final episode of the St. Joseph Mustangs Show, exclusively right here on KQ2, sponsored by Getz Credit Union Ventura Foods. I'm Chris Roush, and I'm joined this week by a very special guest, outfielder for the Mustangs, Trevor McCollum. Trevor, thanks for coming on and helping us wrap up the 2023 Mustang season.
Of course, thank you for having me.
You know, Trevor, obviously you guys were going for the 4-peat this year. Obviously, Game 3 went Jefferson City's way. They won the Mink League title, but what a year it was. The fact that you guys were even in contention for 4 says quite a bit what this team was able to do, too.
Yeah, I mean, winning 3 is hard enough, and then going back and having a chance at even going to a 4th championship game, Game 3 that anyone could win, it was really special this year.
And I was talking, we'll get to the interview I have with Dan Gerson a little bit later on, too, in the show, but I was talking to him about this as well, and the fact that, you win 1, that's great. You win 2, you're on to something. You win 3, it's a dynasty.
Yeah.
How difficult was this because this is your second year with the team, but how difficult maybe was that pressure of 4-peat? You guys wanted it, the team wanted it, the fans wanted it. How did you guys deal with that kind of, I don't want to say looming over you guys, but that thought was always there too?
Yeah, I think it kind of helped out that we had a ton of new players this year. I mean, there was a pressure on those returning that we were going to go for a 4th, and luckily everyone had the same idea of putting it all together, and Johnny put together a great roster, so it helped us out having new players just coming in and filling those spots.
Do you have a special memory from this year that stood out to you?
Yeah, what game was that? It must have been it was the second game of the Mink League Championship. That game felt like it took forever, and then we came back and somehow put it together and won when our bats just went cold that whole series, which is just unfortunate for us, but that's how the game of baseball is. So it was crazy to come back and see us win in the 12th inning like we did.
And welcome back into the St. Joe Mustang Show, sponsored by Getz Credit Union Ventura Foods. Chris Roush with you again this week, and a very special guest joining us, the founder and former owner of the St. Joe Mustangs, Dan Gerson, joining us to kind of go back over this year, but also just some favorite memories he has of the Mustangs. Dan, thanks for coming on with us this week.
Sure, Chris. It's a pleasure. It's great to be here. It's great to see you.
Yeah, good to talk to you, too. And, the Mustangs trying to get that 4-peat. Obviously, Jeff City ended up with the Mink League Championship for the first time in their team's history. But what a run it's been for the Mustangs the last couple of years. I know you've kind of kept up with what the Mustangs have done since you sold the team to Kai Turner. But just what's impressed you the most from what you continue to see from this organization?
Well, just that, from a winning on the field standpoint, I knew that wasn't going to ever change because, Matt, Johnny, they're going to just continue to put a great product out on the field. And, we won last year. And I'm going to be saying we a lot, Chris. I haven't lost that. I haven't lost it. So the Mustangs are still a we when I'm talking. So, the Mustangs won last year. We went down to the final game this year. People can't ask for any more than that. They really can't. So it was a great year. I think Johnny had the best record in the league. Attendance just continues to build, which I knew it would with Kai. He's great at what he does, and they had over 6,000 for a game. So to me, that's a phenomenal year.
To see them have a chance to get a four-peat, I mean, it's hard enough to win one. You win two, okay, really good. Win three, dynasty, but have a chance for four. Just what does that say about what this team has been? Because there's guys that were on that team that won a couple of years ago, and then they're still here now. What does that say about what Johnny's been able to create too?
Well, I think he's created the same environment that Matt did. I mean, he was on the bench watching Matt put all that together and sustain the excellence that they had. And Johnny's just, he's put his touch in there. And I don't think the winning's going away. I know people are probably disappointed they didn't get 4 in a row. I hope that we're not all turning into Alabama football fans where if you don't win the national championship, everybody's upset. But to have, like you said, to have a chance at 4 in a row, I mean, come on, that's amazing. And then I'm sure they'll be right there at the end of the season next year.
Since you've sold the team to Kai, has there been something that's really stood out to you about what you've seen evolution-wise from this organization?
Not really. I just knew that, as we said when we were talking when I sold the team, Kai's the guy because he's from St. Joe. He loves St. Joe. I love St. Joe, but I didn't grow up in St. Joe, so I can never duplicate what Kai brought to the table as the general manager. And there was no reason that Kai, I mean, there was only one choice. Kai had to own the team after me. And I think it's proved to be a good decision for both, by both myself and Kai, because we talked about it for a long time before it happened. And he just is so ingrained in the community. People love him. And I'm really not surprised when I saw 6,000. It didn't surprise me at all because Kai's always going to come up with great ideas and the community's going to respond. And I'm not saying the community didn't respond when I owned the team, but I think Kai has allowed it to take the next step because now the owner of the Mustangs is a St. Joe guy, born and raised in St. Joe. And that doesn't mean that I don't love St. Joe as much as anybody, because I do. St. Joe was ridiculously welcoming to me, and for all the years that I owned the team. But Kai was the only person that was going to be able to take it to the level he's taken it to.
Kai and I discuss this part fairly often, I think, but that first year after the COVID cancellation season, I think there was a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions. Now that we're a few years removed from that 21 season, were you surprised by how much people came back so quickly? Because a year without something, you can forget about something, right? But it didn't seem like fans forgot about the Mustangs during that lost year of not having the baseball team. But 21, it seemed like it just kept building and not taking a step back either.
It was amazing. It really was, because we went to the championship in 21 after not even playing in 20. And I went to that final game. And I couldn't believe it, because normally for a playoff game, I can sit way down the line and kind of watch the game. And I just remember it was packed. And we had over 3,000 that game for the final playoff game. So I was very pleasantly amazed, if that's a phrase. But it shows you how much St. Joe loves the Mustangs.
I know you and I have talked about that part before. St. Joe loves its baseball, loves its Mustangs. Why has that been a perfect marriage, the St. Joe and the Mustangs, for so long now?
Well, I think, just speaking from when I owned the team, I really loved St. Joe. I thought it was a great community. Phil Welsh reminded me of an old-time ballpark, a little tiny version of Wrigley Field. I think I mentioned that when I first bought the team. So I had a lot of love for what was happening. I love baseball. So I think St. Joe saw how much I, was giving back, whether it was the baseball, whether it was the community. And once they saw that, and don't forget who I was following, the Black Snakes, because that was a mess. So if you're looking for a perfect storm, I think that the way I did it, and they sensed how much I love baseball, and the way I wanted everybody to be a part of the community that worked for the team. That it was just, I think that was a big reason why it has sustained through the years.
It's hard to imagine Mustangs not being a part of St. Joe at this point. I mean, 2009 to now and still running and going better than ever. Could you ever imagine not having the Mustangs now in St. Joe?
No. I don't think St. Joe could imagine not having the Mustangs in St. Joe. I mean, Kai is a young man, and he's going to be around for an awful long time, knock on wood, owning the Mustangs and bringing this kind of product every year, just thinking of ways to make it even better next year. I'm sure he's already thinking about it. So no, I can't imagine it. Can you?
No, and that's the weird thing about it is, I've been in this job for now 7, 8 years now, and I interned with the Mustangs in 2014, and it just seems like once high school sports end in the spring, Mustangs baseball, but those 6-7 weeks, I mean, they fly. Usually you think summertime, it's downtime in local sports, but around here it's not, because you have the Mustangs playing 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 games a week at home, keeping things going, and it's hard to imagine them not being around. So the way that Kai's run the organization's been amazing to see, and I felt kind of old the past 2 weeks or so. Jace Johnson pitching for the Mustangs now, and I know you watched him. I think it was that Friday night game, Game 2, in the Mink League World Series. Is it weird for you to see Jace out there pitching? Because I remember Jace running around. Go ahead.
I texted Kai and Johnny after the game, and I said, I've never felt as old as I have watching him on the mound. He did a great job. I mean, but you just, like I said, I mean, you can go back. I don't know how old Jace was when the whole thing started in 2009. He had to be, 3-4 years old?
I was just saying, Matt told me Brinley was born in 2009. So, I mean, that tells you that part too. So, I mean, both their kids were born and raised pretty much at the Mustangs for several years. And that made me feel weird and old, because Jace has graduated high school and here he is pitching great against, 18 to 23, 24-year-old guys. But to me, that also speaks to what the Mustangs are too, is that you have a kid that grew up in that clubhouse coming back and pitching for that same team too.
Well, you're not going to see we've had some high school kids pitch, and they've done really, really well. But if you watched him pitch, and I think he pitched 2 nights in a row. Did he pitch Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday? I don't remember. But his composure on the mound, you're just watching him going, what is this?
I'll get you out of here on this one. Obviously, we know what the team on the field, what Johnny's been able to bring in year after year. I know there's a lot of guys coming back next year too, but from an organization standpoint, 6,000 fans in a game this year, where does this team go next?
I don't know. I mean, how many people can you get in Bill Welch?
I don't know.
I mean, we got 6. Are we trying to get 7? I don't know. So Kai's going to try. He's just done a phenomenal job. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of Johnny. I'm so proud of his staff. Tyler was there when I owned the team, and it really makes me feel great that the town's, just reacting even with more love for the Mustangs, and that to see the success that Kai and his team have, and Johnny also, it just really makes me feel really that it's a special thing, that it's going to continue for a long, long time.
Dan, appreciate the time, and thanks for talking about some of the Mustang memories, and we'll have to catch up soon.
All right, Chris. Great talking to you.
Hello, St. Joe baseball fans, and welcome to Phil Welch Stadium. My name's Tyler Reedy, along with Tanner Collins, here with the Mustangs pregame show. And tonight, we got a lot going on here on a beautiful sunny evening at the ballpark.
The sounds of summer. That's the job Tanner Collins and Tyler Reedy provided at Phil Welch Stadium.
This job is amazing because you get reps all summer long. There's 26 home games here throughout the summer. So just getting the reps is amazing. You know, broadcasting is a tough thing to get into. There's a lot of people and only one person for the job. And getting to do that many games here this summer is really good, getting all that audio. And
this has taught me, being in St. Joe, more than anything, that it's about being more than just a broadcaster. Developing a connection with the fans, the community, and being open to anything the organization asks you to do, and just always being willing to say yes, be a good person.
Collins, a recent graduate of Southern Illinois Edwardsville, and Reedy, a student at the University of Notre Dame, found an opportunity with the Mustangs as the play-by-play team.
Welcome to St. Joseph, Missouri, here at Phil Welch Stadium. The St. Joe Mustangs welcome in the Ban Johnson Raiders, another non-league game.
It's a joy for these two coming out to the ballpark every day, calling the games and learning the stories of the players too.
we get here around 4 and come set up all the equipment, the camera, the computer, make sure all the numbers and the teams are correct in the system. And then really we kind of just go hang with the players, you know, talk to them, get a little some backstory stuff to add to the broadcast. And then around 6:30 we do the pregame show, and then right at 7 we're ready to go.
Get information that you just otherwise wouldn't be able to find. And I thank Coach Coy, Coach Bailey, Coach Frankie, and all the players for welcoming us in with open arms, because I think being around the players has been my biggest area of growth, and biggest thing that surprised me this year, how open they've been to connecting with me and just hanging out and having a good time.
They witnessed some unbelievable moments throughout the season.
Slice to right. It's coming in. It's down. This game is over. And the Mustangs have forced a winner-take-all.
While doing a job that never really felt like work to them.
I just love being around these high-level athletes and seeing what they do, all the training, all the behind-the-scenes work. I think that's awesome to watch, and I've really enjoyed it.
Talk about what's important to the game and make every game feel as important as possible to the fans and to the players, but at the same time, you want to match the feeling in the ballpark here, because this is a place where people come to have a good time and put a smile on their faces.
Wrapping things up on the final episode of the 2023 St. Joe Mustangs show, sponsored by Getz Credit Union and Ventura Foods. Trevor, appreciate you coming on and wrapping things up and looking back at what it was, 2023. And Dan Gerson talked to me about it. Just amazing what Kai and the Mustangs organization continues to become. I mean, 6,000 fans that one night. Yeah. You talk about it, and you talked about it last year and this year before the year started. New guys coming in, playing in front of a couple thousand, this is my biggest crowd. Now you have 6,000 you're playing in front of. Just what is that feeling like to know that St. Joe's has that much support for you guys?
It's awesome coming here. That's why I came here in the first place, was all the fans being here, and I can't thank them enough for coming out and supporting us each game. And it honestly gives us a huge home field advantage. With other teams coming in, other teams around the Mink League get maybe 800 a night if they're having a good night, and we come out and we put up over 2,000. It feels like every single night, just on average. And then you get put in those big games where we're getting 6,000 fans on a single night. It's you dream of those situations, especially as being not too far from St. Joe. It's kind of a hometown thing, close enough, but you come up here and you play in front of 6,000 people, and it makes you want to play even better. And as you saw on the Taylor Swift night where we had that amount of people, we beat the crap out of them. So it was really nice having everyone there, and can't thank the St. Joe fans enough.
For people who don't know why you decided to become a Mustang now 2 years ago, just what led you into that?
So I want to say it was 3 years ago now. Jackson Himmel came to the Mustangs and played for them, and then ended up going to Washburn with me, and he was like, "Hey, this is a great opportunity if you want to go play in front of a lot of players or a lot of people." And I looked it up, and I was like, "Wow, they get a ton of fans each game. Why would I not want to go play there?
Right.
And it enticed me to come play here. And then playing my first year, I got set up with a great host family with Nicole and Justin Wright and Kellen and Cole. Sorry, Kellen is just.
I was like, Kellen's been all over the place this summer. Kellen's root beer floats. Kellen's a character in himself too.
Yeah, I mean, Kellen is someone that you're never gonna have a quiet household with him in there. And then Cole's the kind of the complete opposite. He tries to stay calm and tries to tell Kellen to chill out, but that never works.
Go into that a little bit. What's your future goals and aspirations?
Yeah, I want to do something along the lines of sports reporting is what I think I've decided into. I want to stay in the game of baseball as much as I can. If I'll go and play as long as I can, but eventually there will be a day where I can't play anymore. So I think staying in the game and knowing all the information that I do about baseball already, it could really help me out in my future.
Well, hopefully your playing days aren't over anytime soon, because it's a blast to watch you and the other guys out there too in the Washburn Missouri Western Series as well. When you guys come to town on Northwest, we get to see you as well. But Trevor, thank you so much for coming on and joining me here for the last show of the season. And no guarantees, but we'll get ready for 2024 just in case.
Of course.
For Trevor, Chris, so long. We'll see you next season in 2024.
With the one, baby!